So I saw Unfriended, the dark web. But okay, so you're watching, it's like this computer screen, and you're watching this guy mess around on his computer. And he clicks on a few of the wrong things and messes around on this new computer of his, all while Skyping and Facebooking and talking to his group of friends because it's game night. He keeps clicking on stuff. Eventually, bad things happen. And as it would in a horror movie, people start getting taken care of. Gah. It's just the format's just like once you get used to it. I thought that the movie did have some decent twists and turns. I did think a lot of characters made a lot of really stupid decisions, but the movie itself, it's hard to get past that initial aspect because it takes a little while to get into the movie too, and the uh, main character is like you have to stare at these people in their faces the whole time because they're all just skyping in front of you. And even though you're like watching this guy's desktop who's working on this computer, he's usually got his face front and center most of the time. So he's kind of really vain in that regard. He might need to take a look at himself in the mirror and not record it and see how that goes. He's like going through like a breakup or he's having a fight with his girlfriend. So you just see him typing to her and then she's responding, not responding. And it's just like, oh, it's awkward. And then he just like clicks his friends, he pulls them in and he's like, hey guys, how you doing? Oh, gotta go. And everyone, I'm not up on a lot of this new technology stuff. Like, pretty soon we're just going to be in the Matrix. Like, so you're watching screen on top of screen on top of screen because the guy's got all these tabs and windows. And I will say it looked legitimate. I imagine that they paid a bunch of money to make sure they could use all these actual official things. I don't know if that papaya thing is a thing, but it probably is. There's an app or something called Papaya, or maybe it was the one that the guy invented yeah, no. I was working on the app because these are all like people who make their livings on the internet, it almost seems like. You got several characters. You got the main guy, and I won't bore you with any of their character names or any of the actors' names, just because I don't know. They got a bunch of fairly unknown people, I imagine. That's kind of how they do these horror movies. They're real cheap. I am interested in how they film the whole thing. Like, it would just be awkward to not have it be almost one take, but it's very unlikely it was one take just because of the way the conversations flow and they like keep popping people back in. I'm certain there are spots where obviously they can easily cut it around anytime they want. It is done just individual web. That was stupid. It was silly. If you are using a computer and you find strange files on it, you probably shouldn't open them. You probably shouldn't log into like the previous owner's accounts too if it's like doing some auto stuff and just not look around at other. It's just be polite. Yeah, it just wasn't very scary. Like that's the whole thing. Like it's doing this whole watching the screen thing, but every time something's supposed to be scary, they throw the jump scare music out at you, and it's like all the other music's all like static and has a source and those words like, hey, that's what's making that noise. That's making that noise. What's making the sound? I don't know. Or the sound, or like the fake little scream sound before something happens to get people to jump in this theater. I don't even know if people were jumping in theater. It was very quiet, just clicking and typing and watching someone on a computer for several hours over someone's shoulder. It's so weird. Just not really appealing to me. So you got all these guys. You got the main guy, and then he's trying to chat with his girlfriend, who happens to be deaf. So he's trying to do sign language, and he's, I guess, not the quickest at it, but he's still, I don't know, better than I can. I can't do sign language. So you got him and his girlfriend who's somewhere else. And then meanwhile, he's also Skype partying with all these other people. the girlfriend's actually invited, but she's not going to go because they're not really on great terms right now. So all these friends, there's this, I guess he's English, and he's like over an English guy. So we got English guy. There is a conspiracy guy who makes very poor decisions for being someone who's paranoid and into conspiracies. There is Lex, I remember the name. She's this girl, she's this Asian girl that's in a dark room. And then there's these two girls that are a couple. And that's all of the people. So the whole movie is this guy messing around on this computer that turns out may not have come into his possession in quite the simplest way. And then he gets his friends involved. And they start helping him look at stuff on his computer. And they find some bad stuff. And they're all like, oh, this is really, really bad stuff. But then, because they found that bad stuff, the people who are, involved with the bad stuff are aware that they found the bad stuff and then are tormenting them. And that's kind of how the movie goes. So it takes a little bit of a lot of clicking and a lot of exiting windows and a lot of Facebook and Skyping and people talking about stuff that you just, like at one point I'm just like, I really wish they could start like knocking some of these characters off because I can't wait till that guy's gone. I can't wait till that guy's gone. It was kind of a slog. The movie gave me a headache. There's just not that much to say about the movie without getting too deep into it. It's a very interesting idea. I would definitely say that you should not watch this movie in a theater. Like maybe if you watch it on a computer screen, it won't be so weird. Because then it's like you're just watching someone else's computer screen. The ending comes around and then it's just over, and a lot of people seem to think that it was just like, whoa, that was kind of silly or blah, blah. But the real scary thing about this movie is that even though like the jump scares weren't bad and this and that, the actual concept of what can happen when you mess around with something you don't understand, it can be a scary concept. And sometimes in movies you have good guys and bad guys, and you know that bad guys are real in real life, and they're just like out. It's like there's a lot of just those people, and you're on the bus or walking down the street or you drive past them in your car, and it's just like surrounded. People don't know their neighbors anymore. That could be part of the problem. You gotta learn to meet your neighbors, know who's living around you. Now we live in this society where everyone just, you grab your mail, you go inside. The movie does kind of make you think about things, and it looks clean the way it's put together, minus the weird sound effects. The acting was all fine. I mean, the worst guy might be the main guy, but none of them did that unbelievable of performances. It was okay. Hmm. All we do is look at screens now. TV screens, computer screens, cell phones, movie theater screens, and now it's screens within screens and tabs within tabs, and that's just what this movie is kind of overload in regard to that. You get 3 screens out of 7. It was interesting to watch. I'm not upset that I saw it because it was unique. I wasn't upset that I saw it. I just don't know if I could recommend someone else go through that. The headache. It sticks with you. Although also I have pretty bad eyesight, so maybe I shouldn't have sat so far back.